So yesterday we kicked off the Democratic National Convention, and I have never been more excited to vote than I am right now. It was so good to see our side unified. It was so good to see the energy in the room. And folks, there's one thing I know for sure. We are on the right side of history. I know that. I'm convinced of that. We will go down on the right side of history when this thing is finally written. Both sides are not the same. One side is just WWE theater with a bunch of fear and propaganda, and our side is a message of unity and hope and ideas and solutions on how to move this country forward. And that's exactly what we're going to do come November. Now, one thing I'm not going to do in this video is I'm not going to focus in on the reactions of MAGA, because those are irrelevant. Them kicking and screaming right now is absolutely irrelevant because they're irrelevant. Their ideas are irrelevant, and so is Donald Trump. They're all irrelevant. But I know one thing they're upset about is that last night at the Democratic National Convention, we brought receipts. And what people need to understand is when you're running against someone like Donald Trump, you have to bring the receipts. You have to remind people of exactly who that he is and who he was and what he's done. You have to bring those receipts, and you have to show them to the American people. This isn't about us further trying to sow division like some of them may be over there kicking and screaming and saying. This is about us bringing the receipts and giving everyone a reality check that this is what we're up against in November. So when the DNC ran this ad, I was jumping up and down.
In the criminal justice system, the people are represented by two separate yet equally important groups: the police who investigate crime and the district attorneys who prosecute the offenders. This is the story of Donald Trump. His entire life, Trump has believed he's above the law, that no one would ever dare hold him accountable. He lies, he rips off workers, he sexually abuses women.
And when you're a star, they let you do it. You can do anything.
He cheats in business. He cheated on his wife with a porn star and paid her off so the American people wouldn't find out during an election. But in the criminal justice system, ordinary Americans have had the courage to find him accountable, time and time again.
Guilty.
Guilty.
Guilty. Donald Trump, guilty on all 34 felony counts.
For the first time in history, we have a convicted felon running for president. And to take on this case, we need a president who has spent her life prosecuting perpetrators like Donald Trump. He tried overturning Georgia's free and fair election.
I just want to find 11,780 votes.
He's tried to escape any responsibility for instigating the January 6th attack on our Capitol.
We're going to walk down to the Capitol, and I'll be there with you.
And if elected, Trump has promised to overturn laws that would keep him accountable and exact retribution on anyone he considers an enemy, even warning of a bloodbath if he doesn't get his way. So we, the people, have a chance to render our own verdict on Donald Trump. We are the jury he most fears. When we vote this November, we vote for justice, accountability, and the rule of law that keeps America free.
So there was the receipts. That's exactly who Donald Trump is. We just reminded everybody of what he was, and we reminded everybody that we have a prosecutor and they have a felon. So if they're upset with that, you know, you should be more upset that you let a grifter from New York dupe you into hijacking a party and completely destroying it from the inside out. And if you're a reasonable Republican, you should really be upset that your party sold itself out to a cult. If Donald Trump wasn't the kind of person that we showed you in that video, I mean, you couldn't make that video. If he was an honorable person who did the right thing and stood up for what was right, well, he probably would have been reelected and we wouldn't be having this conversation to start with. The reason we're having this conversation is because Donald Trump is exactly who he is. But I'm loving seeing more and more people bring the receipts. And here, they bring Project 2025 right out on the stage. And I was so glad to see this. Please bring it out. Please read from it, because it's not some left-wing boogeyman. Here's the receipts. Check this out. This is great.
And whatever you think it might be, it is so much worse. Tonight, I want to tell you about just one aspect of Project 2025. It's planned to turn Donald Trump into a dictator. Okay, right here, on page 535. It says, quote, reissue Trump's Schedule F executive order to permit discharge of non-performing employees. Now that doesn't sound that scary, right? But here's what it actually means in plain English. If Donald Trump gets back into the White House, he's going to fire civil servants like intelligence officers, engineers, and even federal prosecutors if he decides that they don't serve his personal agenda.
I know so many people in my part of the world that will say to me, Brando, it's just hyperbole, man. You're just getting everybody worked up. He would never do that. I don't think he would ever do that. I've showed you receipt after receipt after receipt of him saying he would do that, and there's their playbook, giving him the right to fire anybody who rocks the boat. When a president says, I have to have immunity in order to be able to do my job, that's not the flex you think it is. What he's saying is he's incapable of doing his job according to the law. And so it's very important that we bring that out every day and read from it and show you what it says, because so many people, it will go over their head because they've just been taught to discredit anything any of us on the left says. But over here on the left, we've got so many great voices who stays on point. And I was so excited when Jasmine Crockett spoke, and I'm so glad that she brought this reality check and brought this receipt.
America, looking at the two choices before you, who would you hire? Donald Trump or Kamala Harris? Kamala Harris has a resume. Donald Trump has a rap sheet. She presides over the Senate while he keeps our national secrets next to his thinking chair. Y'all know what I said that other time. In Mar-a-Lago.
Kamala Harris has a resume, Trump has a rap sheet. Somebody put that on a shirt, okay? Because that is the reality that MAGA is forced to live with, and I love it. It couldn't have happened to better people to be stuck with that reality. And another hard reality that we have to face up to is Donald Trump is back asking for a rematch. You know, he wants a second shot after bungling a global pandemic. After all the Americans that died and all of us that lost family members and are still suffering today over his mishandling of the pandemic, I think it's only fair that we remind people of what we went through. This isn't us trying to be more divisive. This isn't us trying to turn up the temperature in the room. This is us just simply reminding everyone of where we was before Joe Biden took office. Take a look at this powerful clip.
Are there words about a pandemic at this point?
No, we're not at all. We have it totally under control.
We think we have it very well under control. We pretty much shut it down.
A lot of people think that goes away in April. With the heat, we're in very good shape. Because of all we've done, the risk to the American people remains very low.
View this the same as the flu. It's going to disappear. One day it's like a miracle. It will disappear. We all together have done a very good job.
We think the death will be at a very low number.
I see the disinfectant. Is there a way we can do something like that? By injection inside or almost a cleaning?
I'm taking it. Hydroxychloroquine.
When?
Right now, yeah. You can test too much. You do know that. Who says that? Oh, just read the manuals, read the books.
Manuals?
Read the
What
books.
manual?
I think it's under control. I'll tell you what.
How? 1,000 Americans are dying a day.
They are dying. That's true. It is what it is.
Help is on the way, and it is long overdue.
The $1.9 trillion COVID relief bill to get stimulus aid directly to struggling Americans.
Our plan is about what we need to do around a national strategy for contact tracing, for testing, for administration of the vaccine, and making sure that it will be free for all.
Tonight, the U.S. is nearing a major milestone in the fight against the coronavirus. The U.S. is about to deliver the 200th million COVID shots since President Biden took office, beating his target by about a week. Millions of American students returned to school earlier this month after more than a year of remote learning. Sports venues are filling up and concerts are getting scheduled.
I'm feeling great. Business is definitely ramped up.
I'm so thankful.
To be able to serve our customers again after all this, it's a blessing.
You see, folks, that's where we were. And Joe Biden brought us back from one of the darkest times in American history, and he was able to do so Donald Trump wasn't. He completely fumbled and dropped that ball, and people died because of it. It's all but fair that we bring those receipts. It's all but fair that we point those things out and we remind people of where they were then and where they are now. And anyone out there that says this is us being divisive or turning the temperature up in the room, no, it's us bringing the receipts and reminding you of where we were, because this guy's back asking for a rematch. So you got to remind him of what a colossal failure he was the first time. You can't let him off the hook. You can't sit back and act like those things didn't happen. They've tried to gaslight us ever since he came down that escalator, and we refuse to be gaslit. And another thing they've tried so hard to gaslight us on is telling us that Joe Biden is some angry dude and that the Democratic Party is not united. Well, folks, this next clip just completely debunks that, and I'm happy to roll it.
It's been the honor of my lifetime to serve as your president. I love the job, but I love my country more. I love my country more. And all this talk about how I'm angry at all those people who said I should step down, that's not true. Thank you. I love my country more, and we need to preserve our democracy. In 2024, we need you to vote. We need you to keep the Senate. We need you to win back the House of Representatives. And above all, we need you to beat Donald Trump. And elect Kamala and Tim, President and Vice President of the United States of America.
We love Joe Biden, we respect Joe Biden, and we thank Joe Biden for his lifetime of service to this country. He has been the most productive and transformative president of our lifetime, and now we see him passing the torch to Kamala Harris. Folks, now is the time to get excited. I'm also really glad that we got to see Joe get his flowers while he was still here. I'm glad that we saw him get the appreciation that he so rightly deserved, and that should excite us, and it should excite us to move forward. And every day we need to tune into the DNC and be reminded that we are not like them. I've got to throw this jab in. I cannot pass this one up. They got Kid Rock, okay? A pampered dude from Michigan who tries to pretend like he's from the South, writing cliched horse shit, pandering to an audience that's ignorant enough to buy it. And we got Jason fucking Isbell, one of the greatest songwriters of any generation. So we're not the same, and we're never going to be the same, and we should be excited. This thing is just starting to warm up. Let's stay excited. Let's get ready for the debates if Trump shows up, because that's what's going to end up happening next. We're going to see Kamala Harris absolutely destroy him in those debates. And as long as we keep this excitement and as long as we keep bringing the receipts, we're going to save democracy come November.